My Bone Army, thank you for dropping back on my channel as I got the follow-up update from last night's video. Now, K9, take over. The floor is yours.
As a user of the Canine Finance product, the first step is to delegate Bone to Canine. So you identified, yes, that at first we will be the only validator live on the Canine network. That'll be the first version of our product, and then version 2 will allow all validators to do this. But from the user perspective, yes, step 1 is delegate Bone to a validator. Step 2, and that happens on the ETH network. Step 2 is that the user will receive their liquid staking token on their same wallet but on Shibarium. So they do the delegation on ETH, and then they receive Canine Bone, our LSD token, on directly on Shibarium. So if you had $5,000 that you delegated on ETH, you get that $5,000 back in your LSD token on Shibarium. So that's step 2. Um, and then this is where there's sort of a fork in the road. So a user can decide to use their canine bone anywhere within the Shibarium ecosystem for other opportunities that may come up. So they could use it on ShibaSwap 2.0 to just stake and earn. They could swap it for another token. They could purchase an NFT with it. There's the opportunities of how you could use that are the same as any other token. But the way that it would work on the Canine platform is you can provide liquidity to Canine Bone, which is a no impermanent loss pool since these assets are priced the exact same. And then for providing liquidity there, you get uh, basically a receipt token from that. You can stake that receipt token to earn more rewards from Canine. So these rewards will be in the form of what's called escrow Canine, which are Canine tokens that'll unlock over time. But also, we will have a partner program where other tokens on Shibarium will be able to add their tokens to this pool as well and get access to many more holders and serious investors who are using a product like this. So we expect the yield to be quite high from that pool there. And then the last step is that you stake Canine to earn the rewards that are coming from the validator.
Okay, so
There's a
there's
lot
still a
to
lot.
unpack.
No, the lot to unpack, but let me just clarify by mentioning what are all the token entities. So there's K9, the token itself. There is the Lido kind of type of thing where it's like a K9 version of what is that called? That the one where you can trade it on Shibarium?
Oh, and no impermanent loss pool.
No, the type of token that you get for staking ETH Bone from
Oh, an
K9.
LSD token.
Yeah. What is the name of your LSD token?
Canine Bone.
Okay, so you have K9 the token, and then you have K9 Bone, and those are two separate entities.
Yes.
And then there's also a third entity, which is a receipt that you get for staking the K9 Bone, or
Yeah.
using the K9 Bone to add liquidity to K9.
Yeah. So that's the same process that works in any farm that you'd participate in. So it's the any liquidity pool that you add liquidity into, you get this receipt token. Sometimes if it's a, I don't want to get too technical, but you basically get a token in return that represents your share of that pool, and then that token can be staked to earn on K9.
Okay, so when it comes to the original Bone that's staked on Ethereum network, that kind of goes to your guys' validator. You guys then get rewards for that bone. Where does that reward bone go? That goes back into K9, the original token.
Yes, the majority goes there.
And is that in the form of liquidity addition or buybacks, or how does that work?
It's direct bone shared with the pool. So people who are staking Canine, if they share it proportionally to how many Canine tokens they have staked.
Okay, so that's where the K9 token comes in. So I buy K9 token, I can stake it, and I can earn rewards from that validator.
Yes.
And so all those people that are staking that bone on that validator are then still able to trade on Shibarium. So kind of both sides have their cake and eat it too.
Yes, and so there are 3 areas in which the bone yield goes to. The first and the vast majority, over 90% of this, is to canine holders. There's a small amount that goes directly to the canine treasury, and then the remainder goes to the actual validators themselves to make sure that their costs are covered.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, you guys have to have operation expenses. Obviously, there has to be financial incentive for you guys as a company to, function, survive this. But in that sense, there's potentially 2 types of clients. One who just wants to stake their bone on through you guys on ETH network, but don't hold K9 necessarily, and they can still. What do they earn besides? I guess what do they earn? Why would they do that instead of just trading their bone into Shibarium if they didn't own K9, for instance?
Why would a bone holder use the canine platform?
Yes. What is their reward incentive besides the canine bone? Because they get the canine bone, but could they not just bridge their original bone and trade? Did they get any sort of rewards, or do all the rewards go into canine?
So they would get rewards still for delegating their bone. So there would be rewards, a portion of the rewards given to them, and they would also be able to. So they get this leverage. It's kind of like taking equity out of your home. So if you want to be long bone, you can deposit your bone into a validator and get your canine bone, and either use the canine platform to stake that and earn more canine and earn partner tokens as well, or you can use it within other platforms, which there's a myriad of other opportunities. So you could stake it directly on ChewySwap or MarsSwap or ShibaSwap to earn their token. You could use it to buy and trade NFTs. It's basically just a leveraged position that can be used anywhere within the ecosystem. So they're going to earn from the validator network, but also get this receipt token that can be leveraged more to earn even more. So I guess the gist of the point is that they would earn more by doing a LSD model than they would in just locking their bone up with a current validator.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because there's a lot of people that have locked their bones with current validators. Is there a concern that everyone's going to want to move all their bone over to you guys' validator, because then you can have your cake and eat it too?
There is, for sure, and that's why originally the scope of the project, when we wrote the light paper as a team, was that the final version of the product, we would be the sole validator, and we decided that, hey, everybody's going to move over here, and it's not really great for the Shibarium network, so that we added a second version of the product where, just like Lido, we would allow other validators to plug into this network so that we can distribute the share validation in a more sustainable manner.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, and I think this draws in, because the concern is that you provide too much value case, I guess is what we're talking about here for anyone listening, but it's too good, because a lot of people have staked their bone to the existing validators. I've heard mixed reviews. Obviously there's bone reward tokens, so people are kind of missing out on those bone reward tokens here and there if they've got all their things staked. But this way they could earn some rewards, but also be able to then go trade on Shibarium. That's going to be a huge drive to users to functionally start trading on Shibarium, because a lot of people are saying, well, when are people going to trade? What's going to increase the volume? This could directly increase the volume because people could be staked and then also trading on Shibarium, and that's going to increase the volume.
Definitely. It's what I think is the largest catalyst right now for Shibarium activity.
Right, and it's awesome that K9 has a part in that. So functionally, also the second type of user that you mentioned is just someone who maybe they don't have that much ETH bone to delegate to your utility, but they can buy K9 and they can stake that, like you said, to earn rewards just from holding K9.
Yeah, so that's one of the major differences between us and Lido. So rather than just being a governance token, which we are, so K9 token is a representation of membership into the DAO, but the value accrual happens on the token level. So that real yield and that money coming from the validator is directly shared with token holders who stake. So it's a very passive way for not just smaller holders, but anybody who wants to be long K9 as well, to stake and know that they have a form of real yield coming to that position, rather than something that, I mean, there's a lot of staking options out there, right? And there may be higher APYs elsewhere at some points, but vast majority of those options are going to be inflationary. And when the music stops, and we all know what happens to inflationary tokens.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen plenty of projects that 100% APY and things and these crazy things, but obviously that's not sustainable. And obviously you get for what you pay for in terms of having a a project where you feel like you can trust that. And I definitely think K9 is one of those projects. Obviously not financial advice, but and being an official partnership is part of that. So recently you guys were added, only you yourself, Bad Idea AI, and Wellies. I'm not sure who else there, but you guys are an official partner of Shiba Inu. You guys sold out the pre-sale in a matter of days, and a large quantity. I don't know if that amount is public, but very successful pre-sale. And then you have 1,000 DMs in your inbox functionally saying, "Can I get some pre-sale tokens?"
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think that I mean, the number is public, so it was just over $1 million. It's in our light paper. If somebody wanted to do the math of exactly what was sold, and yeah, it just sold out in a few days, and we did that in a very specific manner. A lot of people, when I get on these spaces, are like, "Oh, if you sold out in a few days, you could have raised way more," and that wasn't really the goal. The goal here was to do the pre-sale in a manner that was going to get the Shib Army on board, and we didn't want to go, because it's functionally a rather small sale for what a lot of our team members and advisors have done in the past. But the strategy here was to get the Shib Army involved, and involved very early, so that we could be really accepted as a core piece of infrastructure to that community, and start to build distribution networks for our marketing and information dissemination. And that's really what we were able to accomplish. And I get DMs every day since the pre-sale closed, like probably 10 a day, of people wanting to get involved in the pre-sale, and which I think clearly we could have raised a lot more, but I think it speaks volumes towards the amount of demand and the amount of value accrual that people are going to get for being involved in K9 early.
Yeah, not only that, it's one of those things where if you go get your entire market share on pre-sale, what's left for launch, right? And then that's doesn't necessarily build the best chart.
Yeah, and I've and our team has learned, and our advisors have learned very well over time, that there's nothing more powerful than community marketing. I mean, you know as well, that a lot of these spaces or lounges or call channels or whatever it may be, like, they will bleed your treasury dry of however much money you have to spend on marketing. But building out the organic channels with key partners and key community members is critical for the long-term success, and nothing builds evangelists better than getting a fair price and a good looking chart for the long term.
Yeah, I mean, grassroots marketing, us at CoinMerge Technologies really, really strongly believe in it. We when we hit 40 million market cap or things like that, and we think we had over $2 million in pooled ETH and BNB and things like that. At one point in our trading history, that was all from grassroots marketing. That was all from making these key connections. There's a lot of organizations that you guys have that kind of push it, since it seems like the conversation is moving over to marketing. Besides the pre-sale that you guys have launched, you guys have started to network, been in hundreds of communities. The hype is kind of building, the demand is there. So it really sets a precedent that this launch could be really, really successful. Do you guys have concerns? I mean, I know that there was a pre-sale, so it's kind of hard to have a ton of concerns about snipers because it's like, yeah, you're buying on top of the pre-salers, but do you have concerns about uh, kind of a rush at the gates? I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, and snipers are at this point a part of crypto infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't really have too much of a concern. The only tokens that are going to be in circulation, so we'll just talk a little bit about the pre-sale. So the vast majority of the pre-sale people's tokens are vested over the course of 12 months. And the only tokens in circulation are the previous round of the pre-sale that we did that I think they're getting a 9% lift from the price that they paid to the price that we'll be launching on Uniswap. Um, I think that snipers are a necessary evil. We're putting best practices in place. So, for example, the contract will be published well in advance on our website. Tokens will be sent to pre-sales and in our vesting contract well in advance. We are doing the launch with a mechanism where people will all have their tokens, but the transfer function will be locked. So it'll kind of confuse snipers a little bit more than other projects and how they launch. And when we turn the transfer function on, that's when we'll announce to our community that people can be purchasing. So I think that is going to be a pretty powerful way to mitigate that risk. But I do think that no matter how many parameters you put in place, there are certainly going to be snipers. But I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, well, it is nice that you have the cushion of the pre-sale because I think a death sentence for a project can be in the tens of thousands of market caps getting sniped, but starting out at 750,000 is a little less dangerous. But
Yeah, definitely.
There's definitely a lot of demand for this. A lot of organizations behind it. So, I mean, to me, I think I've got a good sense from this AMA, and apologize if it feels like I was grilling you at times. It's just a lot to unpack and a lot to understand. So I just want to make sure to kind of clarify it in the simplest type of terms for users here to understand, and hopefully they got a good sense of how they can connect and work with Canine Finance, either as an investor or a delegator to functionally profit off of this system. So you guys are official partners with Shiba Inu. Is there anything else that launches March 7th? Let's talk about that. And is there going to be a tax on the token? It's zero tax, or?
There will be a tax. All the taxes are shared directly to the Treasury wallet. On the first day, there'll be a 3% buy tax and a 10% sell tax. The sell tax was chosen because the pre-sale people are unlocked and they have a 9% lift. So that was really to protect people that are going to be buying on the day of the launch. The taxes will come down over time to 1% buy and 2% sell. Um, and I imagine that the DAO will vote to eliminate taxes as the project progresses and as we're listing on other exchanges and getting organic listings, and taxes can be circumvented anyways, that it's probably a wise decision for the DAO to eliminate those over time too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there is a DAO element of this which we didn't talk about as well. How does the DAO work?
Yeah, so it's really modeled after Lido, but Lido's is very much so all on chain. So our DAO lawyer is somebody who has worked with projects like Sushi and set up their DAO and other very successful DAOs in the past. So there's two layers of security built into the DAO. So the first is the and all of these layers are elected council members. So the first is the basically management team that'll be elected, and their responsibility is to carry out the successful votes that go through. Their first responsibility will be in executing the roadmap as is laid out in our light paper, and their second will be to make any changes that the DAO votes in. And the second layer of security is called the Roundtable of Dogs. So anybody who owns Canine Token, we use a platform called snapshot.org. Anybody can propose a vote. So you might propose a vote saying, hey, I want taxes to go to zero. And the Roundtable of Dogs is an elected group whose responsibility is to filter all votes so that when a vote actually goes to all token holders to vote on it, and the opportunity to vote using Snapshot, which is all gasless, which is great. The outcome of the vote, whether it's a yes or a no, for token holders, the roundtable makes sure that either outcome is going to further the adoption of K9 and further the mission of K9, which is to further DeFi adoption on Shibarium.
Nice. And are you guys building a D app for the voting, or are you using existing infrastructure?
We're using the same infrastructure that Aave and Lido use. It's called snapshot.org. It's all gasless, and it's very configurable as well. So just you plugging into other best practices there.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense not to rebuild the wheel multiple times, especially something that's safe like that. So, all right, cool, Buzz. So I got to be honest, this is one of the AMAs I've been most excited for in the past couple weeks. It's been fantastic to kind of get a full breakdown of everything K9 is doing. I do want to link the K9 official X account here. I'll do it through here. Here, we'll do this one about a new team member that's coming on. We didn't even talk about your team, to be honest. There's obviously we could even unpack all that information about the DAO even further. So it'll be great kind of on the next AMA to get some follow-up updates on this. For those of you guys who don't know, we are going to be working with K9 and bringing them on over the next 6 months plus to kind of give them continued updates, continued support, because we definitely support what K9 is doing over here. And I'm super bullish on it, man. I can't wait for this launch. It's March 7th. And like Buzz mentioned, the pre-sale got $1 million in a couple days back in January. And I think there's going to be a lot of buy pressure, not financial advice. But anything else, Buzz, that you'd like to kind of get across that you didn't in this AMA?
I love this question. Let me think. Well, today we just announced that we will be an official validator. So that's a great recognition that's coming there. And I think that if we are kind of wrapping up, like one thing that I would tease or give a little bit of alpha on is that there's been a very frequently asked question as to when a certain individual who's very influential within the SHIB ecosystem, I'm sure you can guess who doesn't really talk much, is going to publicly endorse the project. And I would say that, if you're staying in tune with the launch and the weekend after the launch, that you'll not only see that public endorsement of the project, but also in other spaces where the person will be on it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Wait, so he'll be speaking on it? Because I don't think he speaks, does he? Has he ever spoken?
He's never been on a Spaces. He's only spoken once publicly, still going back and forth over whether or not he's going to have an AI sort of voice that'll be used on the Spaces, but we'll have more information on that soon.
Man, that's some alpha right there. Definitely be good to hear from him. Obviously, he's a high profile figure who obviously has to protect his identity, this being decentralized and all that, because man, there's so much money in this ecosystem, isn't there? Shiba Inu is, I think, what did it hit, like 15 billion, 20 billion or more even in their all-time high, and they still are in the billions of market cap. They're still a top 20 token. SHIB isn't dead. I think that personally. I did also share a tweet up here at the top from you that was kind of really, really exciting, that breaks down basically how much money there is in Shibarium now and what K9 could do to that number. So if you are a project in Shibarium and you have a Shibarium token, I think that K9 is very good for what you're doing, and ultimately it would be good to kind of rally behind them and support them, because they're bringing value back to you guys through these types of tools, and they're allowing people to trade your token and things like that. So definitely check out that full breakdown of the BONE delegated, the BONE staked, how everything works there. And also another pin tweet I made was just introducing a new team member of theirs. I just used it so that everyone could please click K9 Finance DAO, the X account, throw a follow on that, throw a follow on buzz.shib. Obviously a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge, much more technical proclivity than I have. but it's been a great learning experience talking to you, man. And I look forward to kind of the launch and supporting you guys as we move forward.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. I love that you pinned the team tweet too, because there are, even though I've become the public voice for K9, there are a lot of really great people behind the scenes, including, I believe, Turtle is in here listening, as well as Turbo, Daisy, and Shima. And that's sort of like the core group of five, all people who have been working together and known each other in the space for a long time, since the dawn of time in crypto, probably like 2017. All of us had been in it. Myself a little bit sooner, Turbo a little bit sooner as well. And that's kind of the core team there. Everyone will hear more from them in our Telegram channel. This week we're doing AMAs with all of our team members to get to know them better, because some of them just aren't comfortable doing voice chats yet. But yeah, I really love this pinned tweet here, because I think it highlights the fact that I'm never going to be somebody who's like, oh, buy my token, it's going to $1 billion market cap or whatever it may be. I very much so prefer talking about the value that we're going to be bringing to the chain and educating people on what that's going to do for their project, or what that can do for the SHIB community at large. And if people see value in that, and value in this infrastructure we're providing, and look at comparables and think that it's attractive for them and a good place to purchase the K9 token, I definitely encourage people to. But I don't think that for us, you'll ever be seeing sort of that moon boy-esque marketing that's pushing people to buy the token. It's much so more infrastructure and education focused, and long-term oriented, because we're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, and I think CoinMerge Technology shares that sentiment. We do these utility showcases. I'm a utility nerd and a technology nerd, so I love kind of learning about all the different tech that's being built, and K9's doing it right over here. And so fascinating to kind of learn about all these different tools and elements that they're building, this infrastructure that they're building that's going to help Shibarium. And I'm also, all about things that are going to make it a better environment and ecosystem for DeFi traders. And I think that, being able to stake your BONE on ETH and then go play and trade on Shibarium and be able to like earn those rewards as well is just a huge value case to the ecosystem. And Shibarium and Shiba Inu, and maybe this is even more so than some of those other L2s that you've worked with in the past, or other L1s, is really close knit, man. Everyone is really supportive of each other. It's not as competitive with each other projects. They all seem to want Shiba Inu first and foremost to send, and they're all working towards that. I see Sharby here. Shout out to those guys. I see Battle, Brick by Brick is here with A1. So, everyone's kind of working together and supporting it. And we really appreciate what you're doing and you coming into this ecosystem and helping provide a better value case and better tech.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, as a last piece, I would also say as well, if there are people listening that are unfamiliar with Shibarium, K9 is launching on Ethereum as an ERC20 token. And that's obviously an easier way for people to buy. And the product and what we're talking about with what we're going to be doing on Shibarium will be launched in Q3. So our initial launch is happening on Ethereum. I know that depending on the audience, that can be a frequently asked question that comes up. So ERC20 token on Uniswap March 7th.
Yeah, speaking of that, I guess we could just make one more point as long as you don't have somewhere to be.
Nope.
That I've seen a decent amount of FUD out there that people have said, like, why are they launching Shiboshi's not on Shibarium? Why is K9 not launching on Shibarium or Bad AI or things like that? And there's been some questions around that. And in my opinion, but I'll let you speak to it too, is that we're still in the adoption phase. We're still in the funneling of people where they are, which is ETH and, mostly just Ethereum, and then bringing that funnel over to Shibarium. So you guys do have long-term plans of getting as many investors as you can, but the more investors you get on ETH, the more you can introduce to Shibarium, and that's going to be a huge early phase process in really racking up numbers on this blockchain.
Yeah, I can't speak towards the motivations behind other projects not launching on Shibarium, but I can speak towards why we're launching on ETH. So the architecture of Shibarium is that the validators are on Ethereum, and all the validation happens on Ethereum from top down, from Shibarium and then onto Ethereum. So it's critical that our infrastructure is cross-chain as well to make sure that we're building on both chains. And since even BONE rewards are issued on the Ethereum blockchain, we, from a technical perspective, we need to have a presence there. So that was a core decision that was made very early on, that we would be launching on Ethereum due to the architecture. But there's, of course, secondary benefits that you spoke to as well, including many, many more users that we can then shepherd over to Shibarium as the product matures.
Yeah, and that's kind of what a lot of the projects that I talk to. Obviously, you can't speak to them, but I can speak for some of them because we work with them. The goal is to educate. The goal is to, like you said, shepherd people over to Shibarium to, hey, try out this blockchain, provide the value cases there, and things like that. So, do you guys have a rough timeline to when you would like to bridge to Shibarium? I know I've talked to Mr. Lightspeed, and they're kind of in the same boat where they're waiting for maybe some official infrastructure to bridge their token. But is that kind of more you guys waiting for Shiba Inu team? Are you building your own bridge, or what's the story with that?
So right now in our roadmap, the actual K9 product will be built on Shibarium in Q3. Q2 will all be about testing, audits, and bug bounties. So I imagine that we'll bridge over in Q3, which will align nice with probably good price action from the halving. And we'll be using and integrating with all the bridges that are available, including Sharby, including the core ship bridge as well. I think this timing will align nicely with the maturity of ShibaSwap 2.0 as well. But really, we make these sort of bridging decisions around technology considerations. And when the product launches, it's going to be required to have the K9 token over there to integrate with the tech. So that would be the timeline that we're going off of right now.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate that additional information. It's important to have the infrastructure there. And I just would like to, reemphasize to Shiba Inu holders and Shibarium users and projects patience, right? Like these things take time. Layer 2s don't moon overnight. I never even heard of a token on Solana until it mooned. So obviously there's a building process here and an infrastructure process. And make sure to give the official Shiba Inu team time as well, guys. Just leave them alone and be nice and supportive rather than fund your own bags. Just my personal 2 cents. But anyway, thanks again, Buzz, for coming on here, man. And looking forward to talking to you soon and continuing to kind of give out tweets. You'll see tweets from CoinMerge Technologies about updates that are going on with K9 as well. Super excited to be working with them in that capacity and hope to have a long-standing relationship.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for hosting. And for anybody who is potentially interested in learning more about K9, if you go to the K9 account, which is in the top pinned tweets here, our link tree is in the bio. You can join our Telegram there, and we have tons of mods, including myself, in there that can answer any and all of your questions. And really excited about educating people on liquid staking derivatives coming to Shibarium.
Yep, you heard it there, guys. Thanks again. Make sure to click to follow CoinMerge Technologies. Make sure to follow Buzz and scroll through the pinned tweet there. It's the second one from the left to follow K9finance.dao, the third one as well. So you can functionally do that and go to their website. You'll find all their links, join their Telegram. It's going to be a pretty exciting launch, hopefully. So looking forward to it. And, I definitely trust Buzz in terms of his technological knowledge as an engineer and as a leader here. So pleasure having these guys on. Looking forward to seeing them again. And thank you guys, investors, listeners, projects, project owners, and everyone else who came here to enjoy this Spotlight AMA for K9 Finance. If you like what you heard here today, like I said, follow CoinMerge Technologies. We're doing a news AMA at 1 p.m. today, kind of talking about some of the major keystones in crypto. We got not financial advice on there. We got yieldification, a couple other big projects. So that should be a fun one. And we're looking forward to seeing you in an hour. If not, we will catch you next time. Signing out.